The rain poured heavily across Seoul that night. Black cars lined the entrance of the luxurious five-star hotel known as the Imperial Crown. Inside, rich businessmen laughed over champagne while celebrities posed for cameras. And standing at the reception desk was the real owner of the hotel. But nobody recognized her because she looked too simple, too ordinary, too black, too poor. And within the next 10 minutes, the staff would humiliate her in front of everyone, only to discover they had just insulted the wife of the most feared mafia boss in Korea. Amina Johnson adjusted the hood of her coat as she stepped into the hotel lobby. The cold Seoul wind followed behind her. People glanced at her briefly before looking away. A black woman in simple clothes entering one of the most expensive hotels in Korea was already enough to attract attention. But Amina ignored them. She walked calmly toward the reception desk. "Good evening," she said politely. "I'd like to check into the presidential suite." The receptionist looked up slowly. The smile on her face disappeared immediately. "Do you have a reservation?" "Yes." "Name?" "Amina Kong." The receptionist typed for a few seconds. Then her eyes widened slightly. The reservation existed. Not only that, it was under permanent VIP ownership. But instead of showing respect, suspicion filled her face. She looked Amina up and down again. "Wait here." Amina frowned slightly. Another receptionist came over. Then another. Soon, 3 employees were staring at her like she was a criminal. One of them leaned closer. "Miss, this suite costs over $20,000 a night." "I know. You probably booked the wrong hotel." Amina remained calm. "No, I booked the correct hotel." The receptionist forced a fake smile. "Can you pay first?" Amina slowly reached into her purse. Before she could remove her card, a loud voice interrupted. "She can't afford this place." Everyone turned. A glamorous Korean woman wearing diamonds approached the desk with 2 bodyguards. Her name was Ji Hyun, a famous influencer, and the secret mistress of the hotel's general manager. She crossed her arms and smirked at Amina. "These people come here every week trying to take pictures for social media." Amina's eyes narrowed slightly. "I'm not here for pictures." Ji Hyun laughed loudly. "Oh really? Then what are you here for?" "Cleaning job interview." Several guests chuckled. The receptionist smiled nervously. Amina took a deep breath. "I'm asking one final time. Give me the keys to my suite." Ji Hyun burst into laughter again. "Your suite." She turned toward the crowd dramatically. Did everyone hear that? More laughter spread across the lobby. Amina remained silent. The receptionist pushed the card reader away. "Miss, please leave before security removes you." At that moment, the entire lobby froze. Because Amina calmly removed a black metal card from her purse and placed it on the desk. The receptionist's face instantly lost color. Because only one person in the entire hotel chain possessed that card. The hidden owner. The receptionist's hands began shaking. "See this card." Another manager quickly grabbed it. His face turned pale too. Ji Hyun frowned. "What's wrong with all of you?" Nobody answered. The manager forced a nervous smile toward Amina. "Mom, perhaps there's been a misunderstanding." Amina interrupted coldly. "You called security on me." Silence. "You mocked me." Silence. "You denied me access to my own hotel." The manager started sweating heavily. Guests nearby slowly pulled out their phones. Something big was happening. Ji Hyun scoffed. "This is ridiculous. Stop acting scared of her." Then she pointed directly at Amina. "She probably stole that card." "Big mistake." Amina slowly turned toward her. "You should pray my husband doesn't hear those words." Ji Hyun laughed again. "What? Your husband?" Another scammer. The hotel doors suddenly opened, and the atmosphere changed instantly. 6 black SUVs stopped outside. Men in black suits stepped out first. Cold expressions. Earpieces. Weapons hidden beneath jackets. The laughter in the lobby disappeared immediately. Then he appeared. Tall. Dangerous. Cold. Dressed in an all-black suit. Kong Min-jae. The most feared mafia boss in Seoul. The man businessmen feared. The man politicians obeyed secretly. The man nobody dared disrespect. And the moment he saw Amina standing there alone, his eyes darkened dangerously. The entire lobby fell silent. Even the staff stopped breathing. Min-jae walked toward his wife slowly. "Who insulted you?" Nobody answered. Amina looked at him calmly. "Everyone." The temperature in the room seemed to drop instantly. Min-jae removed his gloves slowly. That alone terrified the staff, because everyone knew what it meant. Someone was about to suffer. The general manager rushed out from the elevator, sweating heavily. Sir, sir, we can explain. Min-jae ignored him completely. Instead, he gently touched Amina's cheek. Did they touch you? No. Did they threaten you? They tried. His jaw tightened. Then he turned slowly toward the staff and smiled. That smile terrified everyone more than anger. Fire them. The manager blinked. Yes, sir. I said fire everyone at this desk. Instant panic. The receptionist started apologizing immediately. Please forgive us. We didn't know. It was a misunderstanding. Min-jae's voice became colder. You saw a black woman and decided she didn't belong here. Nobody spoke, because it was true. Then Min-jae pointed at Ji-hyun. And who is she? The manager froze. Ji-hyun suddenly became nervous for the first time. I am a guest. Amina folded her arms. She called me a cleaner. Min-jae looked at Ji-hyun for 3 silent seconds. Then he spoke softly. Throw her out. Her face lost color. What? The bodyguards moved instantly. Ji-hyun screamed as they dragged her toward the entrance. You can't do this to me. Min-jae didn't even look at her. Instead, he turned back toward the manager. And you? The manager nearly collapsed. You allowed this. I'm sorry, sir. You're finished. The man dropped to his knees begging. But Min-jae simply walked past him with Amina. The entire lobby watched silently. Amina paused before entering the elevator. Then she turned toward the terrified staff. The problem with people like you, her voice was calm, is that you only respect power after seeing it. Then the elevator doors closed. Inside the elevator, Min-jae immediately softened. You should have called me earlier. Amina sighed. You were handling business. I would burn this entire city for you. She laughed softly. That dangerous mafia boss expression disappeared instantly whenever he looked at her. Because Amina was the only person who could calm him. 3 years earlier, she had saved his life, not knowing who he was. At the time, Min-jae had been stabbed during a gang war and collapsed near her cafe. While everyone else avoided him, Amina helped him, protected him, fed him, and treated him like a normal person, not a monster. He fell in love immediately. Months later, they married secretly. But the mafia world hated the relationship. Many people believed a black woman didn't deserve to stand beside Korea's most powerful man. Amina knew it, but she never cared, because unlike everyone else, she wasn't afraid of Min-jae, and that made her dangerous too. The next morning, news of the incident exploded across social media. The Imperial Crown staff fired after insulting owner's wife. Videos from the lobby went viral. People were shocked, especially after discovering the hotel secretly belonged to Amina herself. But while the internet celebrated, someone else was furious. Inside a luxury penthouse, an older Korean woman smashed a wine glass against the wall. Madam Kong, Min-jae's mother, you embarrassed this family for that woman. Min-jae remained calm. She's my wife. She is ruining our image. No, racists ruin the image. Madam Kang's eyes burned with anger. You were supposed to marry someone useful. I already did. That nearly gave her a heart attack, because Min-jae never defied her publicly before. But everything changed after Amina entered his life, and Madam Kong hated it deeply. Unfortunately, she wasn't the only enemy, because across the city, another mafia family had been watching carefully, and they had finally discovered Min-jae's weakness. Amina. 3 nights later, Amina left a charity event alone. Her driver had gone to retrieve the car. That was when the van appeared. Masked men jumped out instantly. Too fast. One grabbed her arm. Another covered her mouth. But they made one terrible mistake. They underestimated her. Amina slammed her heel into one man's knee. He screamed. She elbowed another attacker directly in the throat. The third man pulled a knife. Big mistake. Amina twisted his wrist violently and stabbed him in the leg instead. The attackers froze. She's crazy. No, she was trained. By Min-jae himself. Suddenly black SUVs surrounded the street. Min-jae's men arrived instantly. The attackers panicked. But before they could escape, Min-jae himself stepped out of the vehicle. And for the first time in years, people saw true rage in his eyes. Not coldness. Not calculation. Pure rage. The attackers knew immediately. They were dead. The underground world feared one version of Kong Min-jae above all others. The version that appeared when Amina was threatened. That version had no mercy. Within 48 hours, every warehouse belonging to the rival mafia family burned. Their businesses disappeared overnight. Their bank accounts froze. Their allies vanished. And finally, their leader was dragged before Min Jae personally. The man trembled violently. "I swear we didn't touch her." Min Jae leaned forward slowly. "But you tried." The man begged desperately. "It was business." "No." Min Jae's eyes became ice cold. It became personal. Across Seoul, people whispered one thing. The devil had returned. And this time, he was protecting his queen. Just when things seemed calm again, Amina discovered the shocking truth. The kidnapping attempt had been leaked from inside Min Jae's own organization. Someone close to them betrayed them. And when she uncovered the identity, her heart nearly stopped. It was Min Jae's younger brother, Kang Tae-hoon, the one person Min Jae still trusted completely. Tae-hoon broke down crying. "I was drowning in debt. They promised me money. You sold out your own family," Amina whispered. Min Jae stood silently. The betrayal hurt more than any enemy attack. Tae-hoon fell to his knees. "Brother, please." Silence. Then Min Jae finally spoke. "Leave Korea." Tae-hoon looked shocked. "You're letting me live?" "For her." He glanced toward Amina. "Because she still believes people deserve second chances." Tae-hoon cried harder. But he knew something terrifying. If Amina had not been there, he would already be dead. Months later, the imperial crown reopened with new management. This time, diversity policies were introduced across every branch. Employees were trained properly. Discrimination became automatic dismissal, and Amina personally oversaw the changes. One evening, she stood quietly on the rooftop overlooking Seoul. Min Jae approached behind her. "You changed this city." She smiled softly. "No, we changed it." He wrapped his arms around her gently. The feared mafia boss, standing peacefully beside the woman everyone once mocked. Then he kissed her forehead. "You know what scares me most?" Amina looked up. "What?" "That one day you'll realize you deserve someone better." She laughed softly. "The most dangerous man in Korea? Insecure? Only when it comes to you." For the first time in years, Kang Min Jae truly looked human. Not because power changed him, but because love did. And somewhere in Seoul, the former receptionist watched the news silently from her tiny apartment, watching Amina speak confidently at a luxury business event. Admired, respected, powerful, the same woman they once tried to throw out. And finally, the receptionist understood something too late. Never underestimate someone simply because they don't look powerful. Sometimes, the quiet woman standing alone in the lobby is the queen of the entire empire. Before we go on with this interesting story, show your support and love to our channel to encourage more interesting stories by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. We love you. 2 weeks after the scandal at the Imperial Crown, life finally seemed peaceful. Too peaceful. And Amina hated peaceful moments. Because in the mafia world, peace usually meant someone was planning something dangerous. That evening, she sat inside Min Jae's private office overlooking Seoul. Rain tapped softly against the glass windows while Min Jae reviewed documents silently. Amina narrowed her eyes. "You've been quiet all day." "I'm thinking." "That's never good." A small smile appeared on his face, then disappeared instantly. "There's a problem in Busan." Amina sighed. "There's always a problem somewhere. This one is different." Min Jae slid a file across the desk. Amina opened it slowly. Inside were photographs, burned warehouses, dead guards, destroyed shipments, and one symbol painted in blood-red paint at every crime scene. A black dragon. Amina's expression darkened. "The Black Dragon Syndicate?" Min Jae nodded slowly. "They're back." That name alone changed the atmosphere in the room. Because years ago, the Black Dragon Syndicate nearly destroyed Min Jae's empire. Brutal, merciless, unpredictable, and led by one dangerous man, Ryu Takeda, a Japanese-Korean crime lord known for smiling while destroying entire families. Everyone thought he was dead, but clearly, someone lied. Amina closed the file slowly. "What does he want?" Min Jae looked directly at her. "You." Silence filled the room. Before Amina could speak, the office doors burst open. One of Min Jae's men rushed inside. "Boss." Min Jae stood immediately. "What happened?" The guard swallowed hard. "They attacked one of our casinos." Another guard entered seconds later, and they kidnapped Director Choi. Min Jae's eyes turned cold instantly. Director Choi wasn't just an employee. He was family. The old man had practically raised Min Jae after his father died. Amina stood up slowly. "This is a declaration of war." Min Jae nodded once. Yes. And somewhere across Seoul, Ryu Takeda smiled as he watched the city lights from his penthouse. Tall, sharp suit, tattooed hands, eyes full of madness. Beside him sat director Choi tied to a chair, bruised and bleeding. Takeda calmly sipped whiskey. Then he smiled. Tell Min Jae I've returned. Director Choi spat blood onto the floor. You should have stayed dead. Takeda laughed softly. Oh, I plan to make this city remember me. Back at the mansion, Amina secretly entered the underground training room. Punching bags swung gently in the darkness. Weapons lined the walls. Min Jae found her there minutes later. You're angry. I'm tired. Tired of what? People using me to get to you. Min Jae walked closer. That's why I need you protected. Amina shook her head immediately. No. His jaw tightened. Amina, I'm not hiding while your enemies hunt us. You are my wife. And I'm not weak. Silence. Then Min Jae sighed deeply. Because arguing with Amina was impossible. Finally, he opened a locker and tossed her a handgun. Then stay close to me. Amina caught it smoothly. Always. The next night, the war officially began. One of Min Jae's clubs exploded in downtown Seoul. Screams filled the streets. Police flooded the area. News channels exploded with reports. And hidden among the chaos, Takeda's message arrived. A photo. Amina stared at it silently. It showed Min Jae entering the imperial crown earlier that morning. Meaning one thing. Takeda had spies everywhere. Even inside the hotel again. Min Jae slammed the phone onto the table. I'm going to kill him. Amina crossed her arms. That's what he wants. Min Jae looked at her carefully. You have a plan. A slow smile appeared on her face. And suddenly, even Min Jae became nervous. 3 days later, a massive charity gala took place inside Seoul's largest casino. Politicians, business owners, celebrities, crime bosses, everyone attended, including Takeda. He arrived wearing an expensive white suit with armed men surrounding him. The entire ballroom became tense immediately, because everybody knew one thing. If Takeda and Min Jae met face to face tonight, blood would spill. But Takeda didn't care. He walked confidently through the crowd, smiling casually. Then he froze, because standing near the ballroom staircase was Amina, wearing a stunning black dress. Calm, elegant, dangerous. Takeda smiled slowly. So this is the famous queen. Amina sipped her drink calmly. And you're the clown causing problems. Several guests gasped quietly. Nobody spoke to Takeda like that. But instead of anger, he laughed. I like her already. Amina's eyes remained cold. You attacked innocent people. Innocent. Takeda smirked. Nobody connected to Min Jae is innocent. Then he stepped closer. Do you know what your husband really is? Amina smiled slightly. Yes. Takeda blinked. That doesn't scare you? No. For the first time, Takeda looked genuinely interested. Then suddenly, the ballroom lights went out. Screams erupted everywhere. Gunshots exploded across the room. Chaos. People ran in every direction. Takeda's men pulled weapons instantly. But before they could react, red laser dots appeared across their chests. Min Jae's snipers. The lights returned seconds later. And Takeda realized something horrifying. His entire crew was surrounded. Min Jae slowly emerged from the shadows. Black suit. Cold eyes. Death itself. You walked into my trap, Min Jae said calmly. Takeda laughed softly. You think this ends tonight? No. Min Jae's voice became ice cold. It ends with you begging. Takeda suddenly grabbed Amina violently and pulled a knife to her throat. The ballroom panicked instantly. Min Jae's expression darkened dangerously. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Takeda smirked. Now we negotiate. But Amina rolled her eyes. You talk too much. Before anyone understood what happened, she slammed her heel backward into Takeda's knee. Crack. He screamed. The knife slipped. Amina twisted his wrist violently and flipped him onto the floor. The entire ballroom froze. Even Min Jae looked impressed. Takeda groaned painfully on the ground. Amina calmly adjusted her dress. You villains really need new tricks. Min Jae's men immediately restrained Takeda. The feared crime lord laughed weakly despite losing. You two are insane. Min Jae walked toward him slowly. No. His eyes turned cold as winter. We're worse. Takeda was dragged away. And just like that, the Black Dragon Syndicate collapsed within days. Their accounts disappeared. Their businesses burned. Their allies betrayed them. And finally, peace returned again, at least temporarily. One quiet night later, Amina stood on the mansion balcony staring at Seoul's glowing skyline. Min-jae walked beside her holding 2 cups of coffee. "You were reckless tonight." Amina smiled. "And yet you loved every second." He tried hiding his smile. Failed completely. Then he handed her the coffee. "You know," she said softly, "when I first met you, I thought you were just some injured businessman." Min-jae chuckled quietly. "And when I met you, I thought you were too kind for this world." Amina leaned against him gently. "Maybe we ruined each other." "No." He kissed her forehead softly. "We saved each other." Far below the mansion, the city lights sparkled endlessly. Somewhere in Seoul, people still feared Kang Min-jae, the monster, the mafia king, the devil of Korea. But inside that quiet balcony, he was simply a husband deeply in love with the woman who turned his violent world into something worth protecting. And unknown to both of them, a pair of eyes watched the mansion from a distant black car. A woman slowly lowered a photograph of Amina. Then she smiled darkly. "So, this is the woman who changed Kang Min-jae." The driver looked nervous. "Should we proceed?" The mysterious woman's smile widened. "Oh yes." She stared directly toward the mansion. "Let the next game begin."